For my Patreon only subscribers, I'm going to show you the complete build of the AM stereo transmitter. In the previous two videos, I time-lapsed it and showed a condensed version, but this thing actually took several hours to build. So this time we're going to go through it all, and I'm going to include the commentary of all the parts and how much fun this thing was to build. Let's check it out. Okay, so it's going to be a series of pictures on here. So I'm just going to enlarge the pictures and see what I need to do. It says here I've got to mount the variable inductor as shown. So basically I'm having to look at the board and everything's all lined up here. So it's going to go right in about here. So this is the variable inductor that's taped down to the board. I'm just going to get my scalpel to cut the tape out of here. That way I can remove this without taking all the tape off. The other components out of the way. So the variable inductor is going to mount. Okay, the variable inductor, I'm having to count the holes here. It's mounted right here, right on this line, and we've got 6 holes over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to this jumper, in line with this jumper. So that's the variable inductor. We'll mount that and we'll solder that down to the board. Now he did give me some solder. This looks like, this looks like lead-free crap. I think we'll use real solder on this. Okay, we're going to use real 6040 solder because that lead-free stuff is just impossible to work with. I tried one connection on here with it. Nah, forget it. Good old 40% lead solder is so much easier to work with and do a quality job. Okay, that's the variable inductor mounted correctly. So let's take a look at what the next part is we need to mount on this. The next part is the 2N3819 transistor, and it's going to mount next to the coil, and the third one's over from the end here, so it's going to mount right, looks like one up from the base, one up from the, like this. Looking at the picture here, it's the next. Nope, I'm one off here. It'd be the next one over from the coil that I just put in. So there should be 3. Yeah, the 4th one over. So that's where this transistor goes, right here. One up from the line and right there. So we'll mount that transistor. Getting my magnifiers on here so I can see what I'm doing. And then we'll clip off the excess leads. The next component is the 1S V149, which is right here. And it mounts next to this transistor, facing the same way forward here. So it's going to mount with its leg right on the line, like that. And he's not showing them mounted right flush against the board, so I'm leaving them off about 1 millimeter. Just looking at the pictures here, I'm trying to mount them the same way that they're shown in the picture. And they don't appear to be pushed right down against the board. The next component I need to mount is a 2.2K resistor and a 1000 microhenry coil, which is going to go right in this area here. And those ones are going to go into these holes here on the board. And they've already got them attached together. They came pre-attached. They go into the third hole over from the edge of the board to connect these transistors, the 1S V149 and the 2N3819. So those connect those two together there. Next I have a 1 nanofarad capacitor. Let's find the 1 nanofarad capacitor. I guess it's on the other card. They've got two different sizes here. They've got a 1 nanofarad small and a 1 nanofarad large. And it looks like this is one of the large ones from the picture that's showing here. It's going to be one of the large ones. So let's grab one of the large 1 nanofarad caps. This is the first time I've assembled a kit that's been on a breadboard, and all the components have been neatly placed on a card. Every other kit that I've built has just been a bag of parts, but it's had a circuit board. So this is a little more of a challenge than a lot of them because, again, it's you got to count over. This one's going on the second one over here, and it's right on the line and then 2 down. So right on the line here, and then there's 2 spaces and the third hole down. So that one's going to go in like that, and it'll be 2 up from the bottom. Push that capacitor down here. And solder it onto the board. And now I have a 100 nanofarad capacitor that needs to be mounted. So here's a 100 nanofarad right over here. And it goes on the other side of this coil. It's going to mount, it's in line with the coil, and it's 2 up and right in line with the edge of the coil. So it's going to go to that one, and it's going to go 1 over, so it'll be one space over like that. So this capacitor is going to mount on the board like that. Really looking forward to this kit when I get it together, this little AM transmitter. And I'm going to build it. You can build it in a 100 milliwatt or a 400 milliwatt configuration. Well, I'm going to be going for the 400 milliwatt because more power, right? Need more power. Might even build a 5 or 10 or 50 watt amplifier to go for it. That'd be fun. Wonder how far you could get on AM with 100 watts. Probably far enough so that the Industry Canada or the FCC would track you down, but I think 400 milliwatts, I'll probably be pretty safe. I think I'll leave it at that. If I can broadcast a nice sounding AM stereo signal and cover my yard with it, then I'll be happy. Then I can use that and use my old Sony AM stereo radios, put them to use. Okay, that's the 100 nanofarad. Next we have a 1 microfarad cap. And here's the 1 microfarads here. Grab one of these ones. It says install it as shown. So we marked like a 105. And this one's going to go in the next slot over from this one, and there's 2 blank spaces, so it's going to go like this. So in line with the 100 nanofarad and 2 blank holes like that. Move down to the next, and I have a 10 nanofarad which is going to mount right on the line. So I'll go to the 10 nanofarad. And this one's going to mount right on the line, in line with this one, but only one hole between them. So that one's going to mount like that. The assembly instructions are all just a series of pictures. It's not really any printed text. It's just a series of pictures of each of the components being mounted, which makes it relatively easy to do. This is a fairly straightforward kit that I think anybody would probably enjoy building. Next we have a 47 picofarad capacitor, and it is going to well, you guys will see, because I'm going to probably put the picture up from the bitmap here. I'll throw the pictures up so you guys can see it. 47 picofarad is the next one to go up here. We got 47 picofarads are right here. The 47 picofarad goes right across here, right next to this jumper wire, and the other side of it goes in line with that cap, like that. So this one's going to go in here, and this one actually is bent over. If I look on the board, I'll look on the picture of it here. It's where is it going? Okay, that one's there, and there's another one there's another 47 that's going to go across it. So this one goes in like this, and it goes down there. The other one's going to actually go next to it here. So that 47 is there. And the second 47 it goes next to it, and it's got one leg right on the line, and the other leg goes next to this capacitor here. And this one is shown to be bent over 90 degrees and lying flat on the board. So I would imagine that this is probably critical for the tuning of this thing. This one's going to mount down like that, according to the picture of it. So we'll tack that one down and make sure that it's lying the way that it's supposed to. Okay, I think that finishes page 1. Yeah, that's page 1 done. So let's go to our page 2 actually, because page 1 was mounting the just checking the board out. So that's page 2. So page 3 has That enlarges up a bit here. And it says, check your soldering and make sure that there are no shorts. Really, okay? Let's do that. Continuing, we have 100 nanofarad capacitor to mount. This one's going to go next to this wire here. And it's going to go, looking at it here now, it's going to go to this one down here. It's going to connect right next to this wire. And there's two blank holes between it. So this one's going to go on from here. Two blank holes is going to go up to that one there. That's where the 100 nanofarad cap goes. Like that. Next I have, there's four 47k ohm resistors that are going to be mounted next. So let's go get the 47k resistors. Here they are, there's four, so I'm going to grab four 47k. And we're going to mount these ones down as shown. Is it going to go right, or one off the one over from the white marking line, and it's going to go in like that. That's one. We'll put that one on the board first. The second one kind of trying to shape the wires the way that they're shown here. It is going to go, it's going to go around this capacitor. It goes in on the same row as that capacitor there, and it comes down right next to this other resistor. So that one goes in like that. The third one right next to this wire here. and it goes in like this. So we've got one hole spacing between this capacitor and the wire. It's one up from the white line, right next to the wire. And the final resistor in this set of 4, it's going to be mounted on the other side of the wire, and it's mounted more as like a conventional resistor is mounted. It's one up from the marker, and it goes to one up in the same row like that. So this one goes in like this. Next is a 4017 chip. Just observing where it's going to go. And it goes right down in here. The notch facing the bottom of the board. And it goes in right like that, it looks like. Yes, it goes in right like that. One up from the bottom row. Why do I hear geese honking at night? It's pitch black out there and I hear geese flying overhead. Like, it's like 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, and the geese are still flying. Flying south for the winter. Okay, that's where that goes. It's the next row up. One row up from the edge of the board here. And the top pin is going to line up between these two wires. So that one goes in there like that. Let's solder this down. And it says, make sure the dented end faces down. Yeah, of course. And I gotta do, but it looks like I gotta make a deliberate solder short as shown. So when we solder it down in place, they want me to bridge here across this one here. I guess this is going to be a ground, I would imagine. So we're going to put a solder short across from this pin over to the edge, like that. That completes page 3. Let's go to page 4. Page 4's got a few more steps on here. Mount the 78 LO5 as shown. 78 LO5. I have to look really close at this picture. It's not a real good picture. It looks like the legs are going to be spread out like this, and it goes down with the middle pin here, looks like that, and the left pin on the line, and the next one, like I said, there's one space up, so it looks like this one's going in like that from the picture. Again, it's I'm just trying to look at the, yeah, I think that's what it is. That's what it is. It's going in like this. And it says we have to do another solder link. It says when soldering the 78 LO5, we have to make a deliberate solder bridge. And it's right in here. Gonna study this for a minute. Okay, the bridge we have to make is right here. These two have to be bridged together. So we'll do that. And now we have to mount a 4.7 k ohm resistor as shown. We'll grab another 4.7 k resistor, and this one is going to go, it's going to go over top of this IC. It's going to go down to this space right here in this little kink in the wire. Second one down, right next to the white line, and it's going to jump over, and it's going to go down over to the second pin down from the end of the IC right here, and it's going to go over top of the IC like that. So that's how this resistor is going to be mounted. Yeah, someone's probably going to give me a thumbs down and say it's a hack job, but hey, that's how this breadboard is built. I'm building this thing exactly as the instructions show it built. This is how you build breadboards. Yeah, it's not sexy like a nice PC board would be, but I would imagine that this is the guy that's selling these kits, and I'll put his link up for anybody that wants to order one of these. He sells them in kit and pre-assembled. So anybody that wants one of these AM stereo transmitters, you have the option of buying one already built or buying it as a kit. And I opted for the kit because I kind of enjoy building things. Okay, that's the resistor, but I'll put this link up here once on the video for anybody that thinks they might want to try one of these kits. 470 ohm resistor is next. 1/16 of a watt jobby. One thing for sure, you show your friends and say, "Hey, look at my little AM stereo transmitter that I built," and you show them this. They're a hell of a lot more impressed when they see a breadboard than a circuit board. Okay, I'll tell you that much. Okay, this one here goes from looks like pin 2. It's right on the line here, and it goes right up to the second one up from right up here on the same plane. It's going to go in just like that and kind of lie flat on the board and short out things. That's right. We're gonna space this so that it's right in line with the other resistor, so that there's no possibility that the leads can short, right? Like that. So that's going to go in like that. And then we get a 1K resistor that's going to go next to it. And it starts right next to this other resistor on the very next hole. And it goes up to, looks like pin 4 of the IC. Yeah, like that. And then we have 2 more 1K resistors that we're going to mount in the same area. So I'll grab both of those. And one goes from pin 3 in line, and it goes over to the second one over here. One over from the, like that, and the other one jumps from pin 2, and it actually goes right on the line right there. Those 2 go in like that. I wish I still had the first FM transmitter that I built. It was built the same way as this breadboard. 10 watts, mono FM. It's time to check the PCB. Okay, we'll check it out. Okay. Next is the 1K variable resistor, which is going to mount right next to these other 2. Looks to be like right in here. Second one up. Or is it here? Maybe this one here. 2 holes, yeah, it's going to be this one here, looks like. And the 3rd pin is going to be right on the line, it looks like. Like that. Just looking at the pictures here. Yeah, it's rounded right on the line. So the wiper is connected to here. And the other 2 are 2 down, 1 space over. Yeah, that's correct. 2 down from this pin here. 2 down from this line, and this one's right on the next one right over, and this 3rd contact. The wiper is right on the line. Looks like that is where this one goes. And we're going to mount another 470 ohm resistor. And this one's going to go right next to the wiper. And it's going to go to one hole up from the next white line. So that would put it in like that, I believe. 3 up from the bottom, yep, and over. Yeah, that's how that one goes in, just like that. Well, I'm almost tempted to build this all in one go, just so I don't lose my place. And things are moving along pretty quick here, so we're going to mount the NE612 next, which is SIC here. It is going to go right next to one over from here, so it's going to go right in here, looks like, and one in, yeah, that's where it goes. Right there. That's where that one goes. Yep, that's exactly where that one goes there. So we'll just bend over a pin here to hold it in place while I solder it down. And next is, I think that's it for this page. Yeah, that's it for that page. So we go to the next page, which is page 5. We have 2 1 nanofarad capacitors to go in next, and 2 small 1 nanofarad capacitors. So there they are, there's one of them. There's the other. And these ones go one goes right in front of this regulator. There, between pin 6 and 7, and the other one goes on the other side between pins 2 and 3, and it sits right on the line. These capacitors, by the way, are not polarized. None of these ceramics are polarized, so you can put them in either way, it doesn't matter. And now we have 3 large 1 nanofarad capacitors to mount. So I'll grab those ones. Starting to get through the components now on here, so it should start to go together a little bit quicker. I'm starting to get through the components. The 3 large ones go here. One goes there. The second one goes here. And the third one goes here. So there's where those 3 go. I got a 470 ohm resistor to go down next. The last of the 470 ohm. And it goes in the same area as the capacitors. It actually goes right next to the other 470 ohm. And it goes right up and goes to the white line right next to this other cap. That one goes in right like that. Got a TDA 7284 to go on next. And it is going to go right in line with the other one. Looks like there's 2 rows up, so the 3rd row up from here. Yeah, it goes in right like this. Noting the correct orientation, the notch facing towards me or down. Might be off by 1. Let's double check my count here. No, it shows it. It shows it 1 row down from this top mount, or for this top reference line. It shows a 3rd pin from the bottom on this other reference line, so that looks like it's incorrect. I'm just looking at the cutouts below. I wonder if there's another picture of it here, how it's soldered in. Yeah, that's correct. That is correct. 100% correct. These 2 are grounded, or whatever they're connected to, whatever that bus is. And there is 1 more above it that this one here is nothing connected there. Looking at the picture. I'm intentionally soldering only down the 10 legs. It says you need to only solder down, so the 4 up here are not shown as soldered down, and I guess they're not used, so they're not being used for anything, so there's no need to connect them. 2 more 100 ohm resistors need to go in. They go on either side of the TDA IC. One goes right down to here on the line, and the other one goes, the other end of it goes right up to the top. Something like that. It's not cooperating with me. Okay, that resistor goes in like that. One side of it going down right on the white line, and the other side is going to go down and connect to, what is it, pin 14 of the IC, or right in line with pin 14, which will ultimately connect to pin 14 in the end. It will. The other one goes on the other side, and it basically goes from pin 2 to the other end where the white line is on this side. right on the white line too. So this one's going down to pin number 2 down here. But pin 2 is not even soldered down on the IC. Interesting. Next is 247K resistors that you're going to mount next to these other 2 resistors right here, and it goes down to the 3rd hole down. So one goes in like that, and the other one goes on the other side in exactly the same place. So the other one goes in like that. Tell you, these magnifying hoods come in real handy when you're working on this stuff. And there's now 2 10K resistors. And they're going down here and here on the board. First one is going right here, and the other end of it goes down to, looks like right here. Double check that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's it there. One goes there, and the other one on the other side goes next to this, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll be the 6th hole down. Just like that one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's the 6th hole down. So there's the 2 10Ks there. Now we have a couple 4.7 nanofarad capacitors to mount. Where are they? The green ones down here. And they mount those resistors wasn't flat with the board, so I had to fix that. These ones go. Well, one of them's lost. I gotta find it now. It stuck to my finger and disappeared. The two 4.7 nanofarad capacitors are mounted like that. And yes, they do stand up from the board a bit because the leads are quite widely spaced. Part of the problem with this type of kit, with everything being taped down to the card, is that the residue from the tape gets on the leads, and you pick it up and it sticks to your fingers. That's what happened to that one. Is it stuck to my fingers when I lifted my hand, and it was a component stuck to me. Okay, that's those two down. And it looks like that's this page completed. So we can move on to the next page. Next one is the electrolytic caps. There's two of them. Actually, there's more than two, but these are the 47. So there's two 47 electrolytics that go in next. And they go in with the negative facing up on this side. These are polarity sensitive. And one goes in here right next to this cap, with the negative on the white line, and this other one goes right in next to this other cap, so these two fit in just like that, in line. A 6.8 meg resistor, only one of those. And it is going to go right next to this green capacitor here. and it goes in just like this one here. So one side is 1 up from the white line and the other one is 2 down from the white line. Another 10 microfarad electrolytic goes in next. There's only one of those right there. And it's going to go negative faces down in this case. And it goes right on the right side of this line here. It goes here, 1 above and 2 below. So it goes right here. So there'll be, whoops. 1 above and 2 below, like this. So the white line is visible. There's nothing mounted on that. It's the next row over. Next I have 2.47 microfarad caps that need to be mounted, and they are mounted right in this area right down here. Both of them are, one leg is mounted right on the white line and one space between them, so the other one is lining up with the lead from the green cap. The two of them are mounted right next to each other. So right there and there. Like that. That's those 2.47 microfarad caps. I think what I'd like to do is on this video just complete the component mounting, and then we'll do another video for the final assembly and the alignment and testing. And then we have two 1 microfarad capacitors to mount next. Again, these are ceramic, so there's no clarity on these ones. And these ones are going to straddle this white wire here, right next to this resistor. Where is it? Where am I here? This wire. Not this one, this wire here, the short wire. Right next to this resistor. And they go, it's the third hole down, straddling the resistor. So the second hole down if you don't count the one on the line. So there, one goes there, and the next one goes there, like that. Starting to get there. We got 22K resistors to go in next. There's 2 of them. And these 2 go in next to these 2 caps that we just put in place. First one connects between this cap and the resistor, like that, and the other one goes right next to it. Just like that. Okay, that's the 2 22K resistors, and that finishes off page number 6. I think there's only 2 more pages to go. Page 7 and 8. I think that's it. Oh, there's 9 pages. 10 pages. So we're on to page number 7. We got 2 more 47K resistors to go in. And these 2 go next to this longer wire here, right next to these other 2 on the other side of the wire. First one goes in, first hole up from the bottom here, or sorry, yeah, 1 hole up from the line, and right there. The second one goes right next to it. Put one down, and it's right on the white line. So it's one down from here, and the other side of it goes right next to the other one. Like that. We have two more 4.7K, and they're going to be mounted vertically. So these ones here are mounted right next to this one. And one row over in line, and the other side is one up from. So these two go in like this, with one row between them. And we need a 100 nanofarad capacitor next. And it goes in the space between the two resistors that are standing on end, right in line with these two. And one lead goes right on the line. Two more 47K resistors. Huh? 247K. I only see one left. Okay, here's where our 247K goes. One goes to here, and the other one goes to there. That's our 247K. That's the last of the 47Ks. Next we have another 4017 IC. So the last 4017. And it goes with the indentation facing up. It goes right alongside of this wire here, right on the line. And the third pin, yeah, on the next line down. So that goes in just like this. With the indentation facing up. So pin 1 in this corner here. Pin 1 lined up with the reference mark. One row in between here. And the bottom of the IC is 3 up, or 2 down from the second reference. And it says you only need to solder the following pins that I'll solder. So the 2 top ones, well, we'll see. I'm going to follow it based on what's on the picture, because I don't need to solder all the pins down. I guess I could and it won't matter, but actually I didn't need to solder that one. Next 2 pins down don't need to be soldered. And then this one here is tacked. One skipped. And one more soldered. And the bottom 4 on this side. And then 3 non-soldered. I soldered down this one, but it doesn't need to be done. I guess it probably won't hurt anything, but it says you only need to solder these pins, so those 2, those 4, that one, and that one. And now we have to mount a 100 nanofarad capacitor. And it goes at the bottom of this IC. From the last pin right down to this other white line. That one goes in just like that. And we get two 1K resistors to go in. And they're mounted. One of them is mounted right next to this wire, with one side right on the white line, and the next side is the next hole up from there. And the next one is one trace over, or one row over, like there's one blank row, so two rows over, and the other side of that resistor is two rows below the next white reference. So this one's on the white reference, and we're going to go all the way down here to two below. So this one's mounted like this, with one row blank in between. So that one goes like that. Page 8. We have to mount a 1 microfarad capacitor, and it is going to go I think it's going to go right in here. No. Getting my reference. Here's my two resistors that are standing up on end. Here's my other capacitor here. Yeah, it's going to go right down in here. It's going to go right down in here. One row over, one row up. So one leg there, and the next leg up there. This is a 1 microfarad. So let's get a 1 microfarad cap. So this one goes right there. Next is a 2SC1815 transistor, one of two of them, and I have to note which way the legs go. Okay, so the transistor is going to sit right next to this capacitor I just mounted, and two legs go here, and the third leg goes down to the other side of, so this third leg here, which is going to be probably the emitter, it goes over considerably further on the board. And it mounts just like this, if you can see how it's going in. And we have another 330K resistor that's got to go in here. So let's get the 330K. And it goes right next to the transistor that I just mounted. Just like that. A 40 picofarad capacitor. And it's going to mount right along the reference line here, right next to this wire, the jumper wire, right on those two holes right there. And I have another 2SC 1815. This is the second one. This one's going to mount over closer to the trimmer, right on the reference line. Center lead right on the cross point here with the horizontal and vertical references. The flat side of the transistor facing to the right. So that one goes in there just like that. this is starting to come together now, and as you get more parts on it, it's getting more densely packed. It is certainly more work to build on a breadboard than it is when you've got an etched circuit board to work with. Etched circuit boards are simple. You just put all the parts on where they're marked and you're good to go. This one here requires a little bit of concentration when you're doing these type of projects, because, well, you got to count all the holes in the pref board, get your components mounted exactly correct, or it's not going to work. So that's that second transistor mounted, and now I have another 220 ohm resistor. This is a large. Looks like this is a larger resistor. Where is it? 220 ohm. It shows a larger one on the picture here, but it's actually not. The photo is showing, looks like it'd be like a 1 watt resistor, but it's the one that they supplied me is not a 1 watt resistor. It's a little quarter watt. But it goes in right down in here, right next to the white jumper wire. One side right on the reference line, and the other side is on up from where this wire is attached. I want to check something here too, because there's a couple different resistor values that get used for different powers. I just want to make sure that the one that I'm putting in is the one that's going to give me high power, and I'm going to see which one it is. So I got to figure this out. This is the resistor I got to watch for is the 22 ohm. I got to put a 1 ohm in place of that. We haven't got to that one yet. I just want to make sure that I'm keeping an eye out for when I get to that resistor, and I'll replace it with a 1 ohm. And that's because we want power. Need to have more power. Okay, that's the 22 ohm resistor mounted. Now we've got the 1000 microfarad capacitor to go in next. Big electrolytic unit here. And the negative is facing towards the top side of the board. And it goes in right on this reference line here. The positive 3 up from the bottom, and the negative is in line with the jumpers, where the jumpers are connected. So it goes in like that. Looks like I had a resistor that fell out when I was soldering it. Have to fix that up. Okay, got a diode, a 1N4148 to go in next. And it goes in right next to where the capacitor is soldered down. The cathode is facing towards me. The black band is on the top. It's facing towards the bottom of the board. We got to put a 100 nanofarad capacitor in now. And this is going to be a tricky one to put in because one side of it's going to actually be soldered to the open exposed lead on the diode. So one side goes down onto the board. It goes between these two wires here. And the other side is going to solder to the diode itself. To the exposed lead on the diode. So we'll do that side first. We'll solder this down here first. And then the other side. So that's connected right in here. And then we're going to put a 2.2K resistor in next. And it goes next to the diode. One side connects right next to the diode and the other one goes down and it connects on with the reference line in this row, like that, right here. And we're going to mount a 1K resistor. It's got to be mounted vertically as shown, so you guys don't see the screen, but I'll put it right next to where it's supposed to go here. It's right next to this wire, right like this, right like that. Okay, now I've got a BS 170 to mount, and it looks like the legs are already kind of formed on this one. And it sits right down here, mounted right on the reference line. Mounted just like that. I'm not finishes off this page, so we move to page number 9. And it's having me mount another 1 nanofarad capacitor. This one goes, it's a bypass capacitor. It goes next to this transistor that I just mounted. And then it says check your work. Okay, well, I think I have been checking it as I've been doing this, but Now we're going to mount a 220 microfarad capacitor. This is the last of the electrolytics. Negative is going to be facing up, and it goes down here along the bottom edge, 3 over from the line. So on the third one over from the line, and the top side of it goes 1 down from the next line. And I'm upside down. And it goes right like that, in line with this resistor. 1 down from this line, and the positive right on the bottom rail. And now I have a 2SA 1015 transistor to mount. One of the last ones, there's 3 of them total, so here's the second one. And it's going to be mounted right along this other reference line here. The 3 legs right in a row, with the flat side facing to the right of the board. It's right next to that cap, like that. And now we have a 220 microhenry inductor. Where is that one? Here it is. 220 microhenry. And it goes next to this other wire here, right in line with this transistor. Should be 1 down from the reference line and 2 above. So it should be right here, with the 1 lead in line with this capacitor. So that inductor goes in just like that. Go to the next page. We have two 1N4148 diodes that need to go in. Note the direction of the black bands. They go in next to the inductor, right on line with it. Right on line with the reference line and two over. So one diode goes in like that, and the other one goes in right next to it. This one goes in here. The 1K resistor that we're mounting here. And then the 22 ohm, which is going to be replaced with a 1 ohm because we want higher power. And it says mount a 22 ohm resistor, which goes across here. But this is the one that we're going to change out. We'll put this one on the board, but we'll stand it up. The 22 ohm resistor is this one right here. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is that end there. And then 2 over from the 100 ohm resistor. Resistor is right next to that 22. So I get a 100 ohm. I put the 22 ohm in just for tune-up, and then we'll change it to a 1 ohm. That's this one here. That's why I left it off the board. Because the 1 ohm resistor they've supplied me with is actually used as an alignment tool. They folded the end over of it so that it'll fit into the adjustment coil here. This one here goes right here. Ohm. I put the 7809 regulator in next. .7809 regulator is going to go over here. It is more along the line of, I think it's right on this bus right here, right next to this resistor. So it lines up onto the board right there. That's the 7809 regulator right next to my filter capacitor and right next to this resistor, just below the trimmer. We're almost done with the component mounting, and that will end this video, and we'll do another one with the alignment because this is dragging on far too long. There's a lot of parts to mount on this thing. It's actually quite a complex little circuit. And for any AM radio enthusiast that's got an AM stereo radio, if you want to be able to play with your radios, then this is the only way you're going to get a stereo signal. Unless you're in one of those markets that still has AM stereo, but there's not very many of them. Most of the AM stations that were broadcasting in stereo have changed back to mono. At least in my market they have. And I miss AM stereo because it actually sounded so good. You know, it was almost as good as FM stereo, but certainly had better range than FM radio did. The TIP 122 is the next one to go in. It says it's mounted as shown. It goes over here by the diodes and resistor, and it's mounted right here. Looks like just like that. The diode is one off of the white reference, and the transistor is mounted on the next one over. A 10K resistor that goes in vertically as shown. So it's going to go in next to this transistor, 2 to the left of the reference. The line on it, that's what I say, the reference. It's going to go in like that. Another 10K resistor. It's the last of the 10K resistors. So this one, the next one here, it goes right next to this other one. This one goes here. Another 1N, where's this one here? 1N60, where's my 1N60? Here it is down here. 1N60 diode. It's mounted right on the white line, starting on the second hole up, second and the fourth hole, with the black band or the cathode going to the second hole from the bottom facing down. Another 100 nanofarad capacitor, second to the last one, goes right next to the diode. And another 100 nanofarad, which should give me, that should be the last one. This one goes on the line here and over 2 more. So second up from, spread the leads here a bit. to make this one fit. So just above the diode here, 2 up from the diode, one side, and the other side goes 2 over and 2 above the next line. Oops, so something like that. It didn't stay in the board, but it's going to be something like that, I believe, when I'm done. Double check. 2 up from the diode, yep, and then in line with the other one. 2 over, yes, that's how that one goes in. Page 11 just says to check my component placement. Yeah, it looks right. And what's the next page? Page 12. Gives me about 4 headers, 4 pin headers, the 2 pin headers. So those headers go right next to one goes there. We'll mount that in place. The next one goes up, 2 up from it. So it's on the 3rd row up. These are for interfacing with the outside world. That's what these are for. Another 2 pin header that is 2 more up. And the last 2 pin header is 1 down in the same row, but 1 down from the next row. So right there in line with that wire. That's the last of the 2 pin headers. At least in this row. But there's 1 pin headers to go into. Oops. Did it fall out? Nope. Just didn't tack down. Okay, and then there's the 1-pin header. A single pin, there's a couple of those, but the first one goes in line with the IC that's got the wire around it here. Looks like. Yep. One down from the top on the reference line. Right there. That's one. That didn't solder down very good, did it? There. That's better. Okay, that's one. And then there's 3 more of them that go in here. And they go next to the TDA IC. Over here. One goes 2 down from this jumper. So the third one down. One goes right here. Yeah, they do get warm when you're doing this. The next one goes right next to this capacitor, 2 up from the end of this long wire, so right there. That one goes in there. Third one goes over here next to this other capacitor. Oops. Oh, come on. Right there. Oh, Christ. Crap. It's frustrating me now because it won't stay in the board until I solder it in. There. Stay there. Come on. Okay, that one's in there now. Okay, that one's done. And now I have the 12-pin header. And it goes in, where is it going? It's going down here on the edge of the board, right on the very edge. One in from the end. And it lines up one off of where this one here is, so it's going to be there. second one in should be having this reference line, which it does. And the top one is going to line up with this reference line here, and one in from the end. So that's the 12-pin header there. Just tack one side in here first, and then I can solder the whole header in place. Okay, now I can solder down the rest of the pins. Got 2SA 1015 come out, the last of the transistors, and it's mounted right next to this header. Space out the pins here. It's right in line with this jumper, and it goes in. To be like that. One pin lining up with, one pin lining up with the second pin of the header. That would be the collector, I believe. The base is lining up with the jumper and the emitter on the other side, and if you notice on the back side of the board that there's a drill hole here, so that trace is actually broken, so that they're on two separate plans. Got a 1 microfarad cap that has to be mounted here. We're getting down to the end here. Got another IC socket to mount a coil, a couple more capacitors, a crystal, and a couple more resistors, and we're almost done. This goes right on the edge of the board between pin 1 and 3 of this header, it looks like, right down there. There's where that one goes. And that's why the header was mounted where it was. The big green inductor is the next one. Seriously, that's what it's called. It's called the big green inductor. That's it there. Okay, where's this one go? This one is going way over here on the board. I have to figure out where this thing goes. And one lead comes off of the inner side and the other one comes off the outside, so I gotta figure out which one. This is the one coming off the in of the coil, and I have to figure out where this goes. One lead goes right down here, it looks like, next to this resistor, and the other lead is mounted on this line over here. Looks to be one full one up. It looks like it's right there. Yeah, it goes in just like that. We'll secure this down with some hot glue too when I'm done here, but that's where that goes. That sits in there just like that. Try and make this as short as it can, just to where they've taken the insulation off. Okay, here's where it goes in, just kind of like that. Stand up on the board, I'm going to get some glue, and we're going to glue this thing down. Next is to mount the IC socket for the MC145151. It goes in right here. It's mounted on the reference line here. One pin above on the reference line. The other end of the socket is one line above this resistor, these capacitors. And the next one up from there. So that's aligned. We'll throw some solder on there and then we'll stick the IC in place. This is the only socketed chip, probably because it's heat sensitive and people were burning them out, so they've decided to socket it. On the plans it doesn't show it in the socket, but there's a socket included, so we'll mount this one in a socket. Okay, let's get the socket mounted. The dent faces down, as they say, the notch. Calls it the dent. The notch for pin 1 faces down. Here's the microcontroller, Motorola microcontroller. We'll plug this in here now. Of course, they never go into the sockets like they should, but there, that one's plugged in. Mounted. Okay, what's next? I think we're getting close to the end here. It's gonna have me. It says I only need to solder the pins shown. Oh well, they're all soldered. I did them all. Doesn't matter. And I have to short some tracks as shown here on the bottom. So here's the header. There's a couple traces that need to be shorted. Let's do it. Looks like right down here I have to put a jumper across here. So I have to jumper that together. That's one. The other one is one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, pin 8 and 9 on this side over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 have to go together. And it's basically the one track here that's going straight through. This track here has to be shorted to this one. Looks like, yeah. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down from the top. So 1, 4, 5. So yeah, these two here have to be shorted together. So that is now done. To mount a 330 picofarad capacitor. Sorry, 30 picofarad. We're down to like about 3 parts left. 3 or 4 parts. Not very many. This one here goes down right next to the IC. It's one below, right the next row over from the jumper, and it jumps over this white marker right up against our IC socket right there. That's one bypass cap. There's 2 more caps and a crystal and a couple of resistors, and that's all that's left to put this thing together, or at least to mount the components. We're still not together because I have to mount it in the case and hook up the display and tune it and test it and align it. So we're still a fair ways from completing this, but this will get the components mounted on this circuit board. And now we got to mount the crystal. The crystal is right here. It's a 2.048 megahertz crystal, and it straddles this line right next to this jumper and that pin there, it looks like. So it's in line. Yep, there we go. Crystal goes in just like that. a 40 picofarad capacitor. Okay, 40 picofarad capacitor installed over here against the edge of the board. We have a 220 resistor to install. It says vertically as shown. Where the heck is it? I guess it's this one here. Looks like it's next to where this diode was. It's going to be right down in here. That's where it is. Right next to these other two resistors. Looks like it's right on the line. And it's right behind this one. So it goes in like this. Looks like it goes in like this. Goes in like that. To connect between this capacitor, this resistor, and the other one's right on the cross point. So that one goes in like that. This board is getting very full of components. Very full. And I think we're done as far as, I mean, there's a couple of components that were left over. 10 nanofarad, unless they're coming up on other, they might be on other pages here. I'm just looking to see. Okay, it looks like that's all the components mounted. I got a few spares that are left over. I'm just going to go through and double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. So there's the completed AM stereo transmitter. It's set up for 400 milliwatts of power. I changed out that resistor. I put the 1 watt resistor in place of the 1 ohm resistor in place of the 22. I want full power. So this will give me 400 milliwatts. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. And the next one will be when I assemble the unit into the case, the cabinet, and set it up. So here's the cabinet here. It's come pre-wired. You can believe the workmanship on this. Just hanging parts in free space. But the power control and the frequency display and stuff, that was already pre-made. So the next video will mount it in the cabinet, tune it up and test it, and do the alignment on it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in part 2 real soon.